quick word about Glenn Hoddle, Mike, because we keep saying this must be the last chance for Hoddle, who really never quite has performed for England as well as he does for Tottenham. Let's just see this throw first. There's Gary Stevens. It goes a short one to Glenn Hoddle. Trying a long shot. That almost caught out Schumacher. And Berthold happy to get it away for the West Germans. Gary Stevens. What about Glenn Hoddle then?
I think Glenn Hoddle's a great player, but unfortunately, when he's been asked to play for England, he's always having to play on the right-hand side of the park, and he's not a player that can get forward and cause problems. I think his position is basically where Butch Wilkins or Ray Wilkins plays. He had a great shot here. This just shows his ability.
Shot. Bremer again. To Augenthaler. Wanting somebody to show for him. Mateus is the man, and the shot, which is wide of Shilton's goal. It must have taken a slight deflection on the way. It's another corner to the West Germans.
Brian, I've noticed that Augenthaler is playing basically as their sweeper. We thought that Herget would play there. It's quite interesting because both Herget and Augenthaler are players that are prepared to come forward, and they're causing us just a couple of little problems early on.
Well taken out by Dixon, but the ball running to the number 6 Augenthaler. Bremer, the fullback, just watch his shot, there it goes, it's a good one, and Shilton was struggling to keep it out. All three goalkeepers have told us here how the ball moves wickedly in the air, and I warned you about Bremer's shooting qualities, and we saw it there. Well, it's a throw which Kenny Sansom will take for England. The extraordinary thing is that where most people thought we would have a lot of long-range shooting like this one from Bremer, we've seen very little of it. You can't tell from that angle how much it was moving. Bremer, Litbarski, and Reed quickly closing in on him, but he's slipped Peter Reed. This is Litbarski, and again Shilton called to make the save from Pierre Litbarski. Well, the Germans in the opening quarter of an hour have shown us more long-range shooting than anybody has in the fortnight or so we've been here.
Into the middle of the park is picking them up. We don't seem to be able to get a man to pick them up at the moment.
Butcher, the long ball, the sort of ball that Dixon likes if he can get to that byline. He crosses it in, and Lineker was almost in there, and Schumacher was stretched to the limit, and England get a corner. Good run there by Dixon. Really just the sort of ball he likes, and he thinks that Hoddle is the sort of man who can play it for him. Did well there, Kerry Dixon. Well taken by Waddle. Here in England again. Hoddle's gone away on the right. Waddle seeking to find him and does so. Crossed in again for Waddle. The flag stays down and Lineker's in there. And England close to getting on the score sheet again, but still 0-0. 26 minutes gone. Just over the top. What about that one, Mike?
It's been a great start for England. We've been so positive today, and not like the Mexico game where we seem to be a shambles. We've got far more shape. Glenn Hoddle was far more positive, and he's looking a very good player. Here he's had a great shot again. It's just a little bit lower, and it would have flew in.
And now a break on for the West Germans. Mateus. Oh, and he's gone past Gary Stevens. Litbarski in a bit of space on the far side. Mateus is still there. Still with Litbarski, and the shot is saved by Shilton. And England really caught out there as the Germans made a move from one end of the field to the other. And for the third time in the game, Shilton has had a powerful shot to save. Bremer, the fullback. Herget, the sweeper. Litbarski, the man with the shot. And just wide of the goal. They're certainly piling in their shots.
There's no doubt about it. This is what we've got to be very careful of. On the break here, Hoddle lost it from a corner, actually. And Litbarski here again gets half a chance to shoot, and I tell you what, he's had a great shot, and it's flew by the post again. They shoot on sight, these Germans.
Dixon. Waddle. Reed. That's a good ball by Reed, and what a great run by Sanson. Lineker's gone towards the near post, and Robson is there! And it's over the top. Great move by England. Reed and Sanson very much involved. A lovely run by Lineker, and Robson arriving late just as he did, in fact, in a match against Italy, and over the top it went. Off this season with that damaged shoulder, and he said although he felt he wasn't quite at his best for the cup final and the game in Finland, he feels really sharp now. Here's Hoddle. Little chip in, and Robson was getting in there again, and knocked down, and a goal by Robson! Great piece of work by Kerry Dixon, and Brian Robson has put England into the lead.
What a great goal that is. I'm delighted for Brian Robson. His attitude all week, and here the goal, this is a typical Brian Robson goal. Half a chance, he's got his toe to it, and it's flew in the corner of the net. He's such a competitor. I'd have him in my team if he was half fit.
34 minutes gone. Robson for England after Kerry Dixon's fine work. Hoddle playing it in, Dixon chesting it down, the toe poke out, and Brian Robson answering any critics who say, well, it's not the Brian Robson of a few months ago. It's a nice one touched up here by the Germans, coming eventually to Herget. Brian Robson, Berthold, Litvarsky, getting it through. Will Rahn get there? Penalty given! The second penalty that England have conceded in this tournament. And Rahn goes down, and with 4 minutes to go to half-time, Mark Wright it was, as the ball comes through here, Mike Shannon.
I don't think there's any doubt about it, Brian. It was definitely a penalty.
I can't argue with that. The one that was conceded against Italy was disgraceful from a refereeing point of view. This was legitimate. And the Germans now presented with an opportunity of bringing it back to 1-1 as they haul Uwe Rahn off the field.
It's a shame, Brian, because he was running away from goal, actually, and I don't think he had any need to have a dive in it at that time. But the only problems, apart from that, the Germans have caused has been from long-range shots.
Well, it's a full-back, Bremer, who's going to take it. Can Shilton hold out? Can England keep their lead? Will it be 1-1? Right on half-time. Bremer with the penalty. And Shilton saved it! Magnificent by Peter Shilton. And England stay 1-0 in the lead. And he judged it right and got it to perfection, Peter Shilton. Litvarsky with the corner for West Germans. That's the fourth successive penalty the West Germans have missed, and it enables England now to keep the lead. And after Peter Shilton, the goal that he conceded against the Italians was a little dodgy, but there was no doubt about that one. 1-0 to England. As you can see, the 45 minutes are up. Half-time whistle. Brian Robson's goal, giving England a deserved lead. Glenn Hoddle looking outstanding, and England altogether looking a much better proposition against the West Germans. We'll get the views of Ian and Jimmy with Jim Rosenthal as Bobby Robson goes off there. Half-time then, it's England 1, West Germany 0.
Sandy, thank you very much indeed. So let's get the first half view from the two chaps. Ian St John, surely much more encouraging for England.
Well, to be fair, Jim, this tournament was dying on its feet, wasn't it? And tonight's game has lifted it again. It's a good performance by England, and I'm enjoying the way that the Germans are playing as well. So, I mean, you know, even though they've got a weaker team than they would have, they're still playing good football, so it's a nice little game.
Yes, Jimmy, we were looking at the Germans. I mean, they've come straight off the plane, haven't they?
Yeah.
You would expect England to dominate the game, but bearing in mind what had gone before, has it surprised you a bit?
What, the Germans?
Well, now how England have played.
England have played very well, actually. I think the front line's done very well, considering they've never played together before. And Glenn Hoddle's having a good game midfield. He's spraying it about, and all in all, England are looking good, although, as Ian says, so are the Germans.
I mean, if Shilton hadn't been in form, England could have been in a little bit of trouble, because the Germans have been banging in some shots, haven't they?
Well, you talk about that. Little Litvarsky early on got in a tremendous shot, which Peter Shilton did really well to get his body behind, because the West Germans obviously come to Mexico and said, listen, we're going to have a go from outside the area. Well,
that's obviously the plan for the evening, you know, and anything at all around 20, 30, 40 yards even, you know, they're having a bash at goal.
They hammered it, didn't they?
But the good thing as well is that England have also you know, cottoned on at last.
Yes.
And guys like Glenn Hoddle who can smack a ball.
Says Mick Shannon says the Germans shoot on sight. So.
Yes.
And he should know.
He should
you know,
know.
because he was
Yeah,
in the
well,
war.
he was old enough. Yeah.
Yes, he might live to regret that one. I don't think Brian Robson will live to regret his goal, though, because poor Brian, he's been having a bad time, as we've been saying.
Sign of a great player, though, Jim, is that is a fellow who just gets in. Here's Glenn Hoddle, and it's a great ball. England have been missing this just recently, but it's a lovely probing ball forward, a nice touchdown by Kerry Dixon, and there's Brian, gets his foot in, and it's beautifully tucked away. And I think that's a sign of a great player, because he has missed 2 or 3 real dingers, hasn't he, lately? But to keep going in there, you see, to keep going in and committing yourself.
The sign of a very good professional. Peter Shilton.
Great professional.
Nobody questions Peter Shilton's sort of professionalism, and he, right at the end, saved England, really, when it looked as though it was going to be 1-1 at half-time, with a really good save.
Well, Greavesy actually was given 2-1.
He was.
Shilton was going to save it, and it was a super save. You were very confident, Jim. I don't know why. Why were you so confident?
I don't know. I just had that feeling, and funny enough, nobody in the studio took the odds, either because they agree with me or they're all too tight to have a bet. I don't know what, Jim.
Good. OK, it's looking good for England at the moment.
It is.
We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes' time. And if you're just joining us, England are a goal up against West Germany at half-time in the Aztec Stadium in Mexico City. The second half live still to come, but both teams still down in the cool of the dressing room. It gives us a chance, Ian and Jimmy, to have a look at that shot from Litbarski that we were talking about. A terrific effort from just outside the penalty area that Peter Shilton did really well to get his body behind.
He did. But, you know, we were saying that the Germans have obviously had that very much in mind. You know, and Beckenbauer has said anywhere, you know, near that penalty area, let's have a pop at goal.
Sure,
And,
that's right.
he is a good little player, Litbarski, isn't he?
Yes.
Marvellous little player.
Yeah.
And he's floating around all over the place. He's very hard to tie down. But, I mean, not only him, there was 1 or 2 have had shots.
Would you expect, Jimmy, if the Germans are jet-lagged and are tired and haven't had the acclimatisation that England have had, would you expect England to overrun them in the second half?
I don't know. Interesting theory, this, Jim. We were discussing it beforehand, wasn't we? I think players that have been out there a while probably get to think about it, about this rarefied air, and maybe it plays on their minds a bit. The Germans having just arrived, it's quite possible that they haven't given it a thought, really. And I think a lot of it is psychological, and we'll just have to see whether the Germans do flag or not.
Yeah, and you were also saying that there's not many people in that stadium taking up the air, is
Well, there isn't many. Look, if they all breathe in at once, it'll get a bit more rarefied, though, but here comes the referee.
We've got a good chance now to have another look at the England goal that I don't think we can see too often from a different angle.
Well, Glenn's passing, I think, has been terrific, and I'm delighted for him, because he's the one player in England I think has got that type of ability. And there's Brian Robson, who again, as a midfield player, attacking midfield player, is the best in the business. And it's great to see him a minute after making a terrible boob. He's back in there and scoring a goal. And you'll notice that England were onside there, Jimmy, because playing against the Germans, you're very rarely offside.
Yes.
You know, because the man-for-man mark, and you can drag them into positions, and you can play balls in there and not be offside.
Yeah.
You know, which is interesting.
Just another word on Glenn Hoddle. I mean, I think Brian Moore mentioned how the media put Hoddle under pressure, and time after time they say, this has got to be the game for him, this has got to be the game for him. He's had a run and looks to be benefiting, Jimmy.
He's playing very well, but I think, you know, a player puts himself under pressure, really.
Yes.
He shouldn't listen to idiots like us or the press. It's down to him whether he plays well or not.
Yes.
And it's only the player that can do the business on the day, nobody else, Jim.
Yeah, but I think, Jim, he's been the scapegoat. I mean, he was taken off. If you go back to the Scotland game, I thought he was the one player that England had that was looking dangerous, and they took him off. I think, you know, they've made him the scapegoat.
Well, it's Klaus Augenthaler on the ball for them at the moment. They've got to push themselves through a pain barrier, and suddenly England are on the break again, and Butcher is on his way, and Kerry Dixon has got it in, and England are 2 in the lead. His first goal for England, Kerry Dixon, after 36 in a season for Chelsea, after a great break by Butcher, after a mistake by the Germans. Breathing space for England, and it really is beginning to look good. There was the mistake. Here's Butcher on the charge. Schumacher just holds him up, and Kerry Dixon finishes it off.
Delighted for Kerry Dixon there. That was a very good goal. Butcher's done great here. The German's beginning to look tired, as I was just saying. He's tried to go around the keeper, and it's fell for Kerry Dixon, who must be absolutely delighted to slot that one in.
Well, now, There was the mistake, as the Germans, while you're watching this, are on the attack, and Dixon finishing it off. Kerry Dixon. That's a good ball by Sanson for Robson. Played in again towards Dixon, but he was well marked that time by Jacobs. Now Mateus. Got Mill making a break, and suddenly the Germans are in with a chance. Oh, and against the post. They were unlucky there. A tremendous break by Frank Neal. And England fortunate to escape. The big Bayern Munich defender taking an age to get this kick taken. Now Argenthaler with it. Through the wall and saved by Shilton. He's in really good form today. Struck beautifully. The wall was lined up well. And Shilton's handling secure.
Having saved the substitution, and with John Barnes coming on up front, there's a little bit of adjustment had to go on.
But here's Barnes in possession. Getting some support from Reed, and a lovely little ball played by Peter Reed. Urging Barnes to get down that touchline. Find the cross into Kerry Dixon! Oh, a beautiful goal! A genuine Dixon goal that Chelsea fans know so well from a pinpoint cross from John Barnes. What a glorious sight for England. After Reed had played a lovely ball down the line, and there's big Kerry Dixon. England 3-0 in the lead.
It was a great header on the far post. Typical Kerry Dixon goal. I'm delighted for him. He's had a great game, and it's been a tremendous performance. I was just saying they're taking it easy. This is unbelievable, Brian.
What a great way for Kerry Dixon to top off a magnificent season. Here come the West Germans again, though, with Herget the substitute. Here's Hummel. Played on for Waddle. Touched on by Waddle beautifully. Dixon's in the middle waiting. Barnes is coming up fast. It could be John Barnes. Oh, and he couldn't get past Schumacher. And we were within an ace of getting the fourth. Oh, look at Bobby Robson. He wanted that fourth goal. Well, and not such good news from Iceland for Scotland and Wales. Spain have now gone 2-1 into the lead as Sanson plays it forward, and Robson's on the break. He's onside. Can it be the fourth? Schumacher's there again, and England get a corner. Nice picture. Look at that. Good spirit.
That man Brian Robson's unbelievable. He's got three
And
here.
I think Robson is hurt, though, while we look at that. 0. 2 by Kerry Dixon, 1 in the first half by Brian Robson. All Bracewell. Sanson's right up there. Good position and a good ball played by Bracewell. Barnes waiting there. Gets the header in! Just wide!
Another great opportunity to score, and Barnes, he did well. He left the space, and Kenny Sanson's seen him whip the ball in near post, and he's just got in front of his man and was dead unlucky.
Free kick. Oh, and it's taken well. It's thus on the far side, with Neal waiting in the middle. And run! Just past. They're still looking dangerous, Mike, aren't they?
Well, they are. I mean, they are a good side, Brian. You know, I think we're taking credit away from them. Here, they've got away. Kenny Sanson got caught daydreaming a little bit, and ran, should have scored on the far post. I'm glad it didn't go in, because Peter Shilton's had a magnificent game. Everything that's been hit on him is stuck in it.
West Germans. Thus, the final whistle now is an offside flag. The final whistle now can only be a matter of seconds away. And there it is. England have won by 3-0. 2 by Kerry Dixon, 1 by Brian Robson. A magnificent penalty save by Peter Shilton in the first half. And an overall England performance that Bobby Robson and those of you at home can be proud of. We take a break, and after it we'll get the views of Jimmy and Ian with Jim Robson.
Well, really, what a good performance by England. England 3, West Germany 0 the result, and Ian St John, the fella everyone's talking about, is Kerry Dixon.
Kerry Dixon, terrific, and nice to see him get the goals, Jim. And Greaves and I were having a chat during the game, and we were saying, well, he hasn't played, you know, particularly well throughout the game, as it were. You know, you're not saying what a great player, but he scores goals. And I mean, let's face it, Jimmy. You know, he scored them for his club. He scored them for England. So it may be that this is the type of player England need. You know, somebody who is lucky in front of goals. I mean, there he had an open goal here, almost fell over the ball, and then had it in off the post. And you know, you say, oh, lucky, but he scores too many goals to really be lucky.
He had to give a lot of credit to Terry Butcher for that goal, but he was there, as you know, Jimmy. That's the important thing. The second goal, though, that he scored, a classical header, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, actually. It was one of our few really good crosses by John Barnes, and he got up brilliantly, well above the defender, and that was a great header. It really was.
See, that's the type of ball that really they've got to get in for Hateley when he plays as well, because he would probably have scored.
He had a hand in the first goal as well, didn't he? He chested it down for Brian Robson.
Right.
He ain't had a bad old start, has he?
He's had a superb start, Kerry Dixon. Bobby Robson is going to be a very happy man over there in the Aztec Stadium as well. But both Kerry Dixon and Bobby Robson are now talking to Ken Jones of the Sunday Mirror, I should say. First of all, it's Kerry.
Kerry Dixon, a marvellous day for you. First full game for England, 2 goals. You must be feeling great.
Over the moon, Ken. Don't know what to say, honestly. Dream come true for me. Butch made a great magic for the first goal. Just on hand to tap it in, you know, it's just one of them things. Second one, Barnes is superb down the left. Got up on the far, knock it in. What can you say?
Very well done. Bobby, good one for you. You needed that.
Well, I think the players deserve it because we've worked very hard here. One or two people will begin to look for cracks, and there were never any cracks. It was just a case of confidence and keep at it and soldier on. And the team have played very well, I think. And wonderful start for him, lovely debut. He did well on the second goal. The first goal's a top in, but Brian Robson's value to the side was significant in the early stages. But overall, it's been a good team performance, and at the end of the day, that's all I'm satisfied with. Thanks very much.
Good. Bobby Robson, very satisfied. I would think that we should talk about Glenn Hoddle, who made a massive contribution as well, Jimmy.
Yes, he had a very good game. Excellent game. Probably the best game he's played for England since his debut at Wembley, I would say. He really commanded the situation. Very good.
Now, Ian, when we look back on this tour to Mexico, what have been the pluses from England's point of view?
Well, the pluses really, I think, all happened tonight, because in the other two games, the Mexico game you can forget. The Italian game, I didn't think England played too well either. And I thought the new man, Lineker, was it Mick called him?
No, Len Aker. Len Aker played very well.
For me, Trevor Francis has been built up in this trip in the 2 games he played by a lot of the media, including our people, as having had a good tour. Well, I don't think so, Jim. I think he's been very negative. There's nothing really happened from him. He's looked good, he's flattered, nothing happened. Tonight, at least the boys up the front made things happen.
Got him well.
You know?
I think Gary Stevens, who had his first cap out there, has played 3 outstanding games. And Peter Reid.
And Peter Reid coming in, you know.
Yeah. So there's been a few pluses.
Right.
And a few minuses.
Yes, but you would say, finally, Jimmy, that Kerry Dixon, is he in the team to stay?
Well, I don't know. It's a very difficult one. It gives Brian Robson a problem, doesn't it? Because he's got Mark Hateley, who's the same type of player.
Yes.
But in Kerry's words, it's magic mustard, and we're all over the moon.
Gives Bobby Robson a little problem as well. Anyway, thanks for your contributions tonight. Now, there's been that very important